What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is part 19 of my Making a Murderer documentary review. Part 19 of 20. We got one more to go after this one, and then we will have reviewed every episode of the Making a Murderer documentary on Netflix. Now, before we jump in, there's been a bunch of new subscribers to the channel over the last few weeks, especially over the weekend, and you may be a bit confused as to why you're seeing wrestling videos pop up. Well, wrestling videos are a part of this channel and will always be a part of this channel. I film for the local scene in my area, so you will see those pop up from time to time, but don't worry, these videos, like I'm doing right now, are not going anywhere, and you'll probably see more of these than you will the wrestling videos now, but that's why you're going to see some pro wrestling videos pop up. Also, I'm in sleeves for the first time in a long time. It's getting to be fall where I am, and I don't like it. Sleeves are overrated. Sleeves suck. Anyway, let's jump in. Part 19, Season 2, Episode 9 of Making a Murderer. This episode starts out with October 31st is the last time Teresa Halbach is seen. November 3rd, Stephen Avery sees taillights on his property. November 4th, Chuck, who is Stephen Avery's brother, sees headlights. On November 5th, that is when the RAV4 was found. So on the 2 days previous, both Stephen Avery and Chuck Avery saw lights of other vehicles on their property. That's not suspicious at all now, is it? Kathleen Zellner states she has a witness that says they saw the RAV4 on Highway 147 2 days before it was found on the Avery property. So that would be November 3rd because the RAV4 was found on November 5th. Then, on November the 4th, the witness was at a Cenex station and he sees the missing persons poster, I guess, on the door as he's going into the Cenex station. Yeah, so he recognizes the vehicle on the poster. He then sees an officer and tells him where the RAV4 is located. Kathleen Zellner states a police report was never written up, which is another big Brady violation. And Andrew Colburn was the officer that was told by this witness where the RAV4 was. Coincidence? I think not. This witness is also a friend of Scott, who is Barb's husband, Brendan Dassey's stepdad. So he texts Scott after realizing the officer he spoke to was Andrew Colburn. He texts Scott saying, get Brendan's lawyers to contact me. Get them to call me. He got no response from Scott. So he texts him again, and Scott responds with, I'm sick. I'll call you tomorrow. And the guy never hears back from Scott about this ever again. Gee, I wonder why. Where the witness found the RAV4 was a third of a mile from Scott's house. They got the deed to the house closest to where it was found and found out that Scott had purchased the house just a couple of days after Teresa was murdered. Now, that's either an extremely huge coincidence or, something fishy. I'm gonna go with option 2. Someone, most likely the police, called Ryan, who is Teresa Halbach's ex, of course, called him 22 times on November the 4th. The calls ended around 7:25 p.m., which is around the same time that Chuck sees the headlights turn off on November the 4th. Remember, he saw headlights on the property, and when the calls end, that's when Chuck sees the headlights off, right around the same time. Kathleen Zellner thinks that Ryan is allegedly there with police helping them, possibly because he had a spare key to the RAV4. Remember, Ryan moved in to Teresa Halbach's house after she was killed, there with all kinds of possible evidence. And the reason why there were so many calls and the reasons why they were so short is because the calls kept dropping. Kathleen Zellner thinks that's what happened because that's what happened to her when she was out in that area. She was using her phone and her calls kept dropping as well. They really need to fix the service in that area. Ryan, Teresa's ex, had Teresa's day planner on November the 3rd. Kathleen Zellner states that the day planner was with Teresa in her car on October 31st because she writes down dates as she was driving. And how do we know this? The people that called Teresa stated that Teresa told them that she was driving at the time. So how does Ryan get a hold of this piece of paper with this information on it unless he accessed the RAV4 after she had already left the Avery property? September 26, 2017, en banc arguments are being heard in Brendan Dassey's case. Kathleen Zellner wants to reconstruct events to figure out if Bobby Dassey, who Kathleen Zellner thinks is the prime suspect in this case along with Scott, wants to reconstruct events to see if Bobby actually left within 1 to 2 minutes of Teresa Halbach leaving the Avery property, then followed her and caught up with her and met up with Scott. She believes that this is the likely scenario of what actually happened, and she is able to recreate it. If you watch the episode, you'll see that she was able to leave, and the person was able to catch up with the person that had the head start and caught up to them at a very suspect spot where they think a lot of this stuff may have actually happened. So Kathleen Zellner again able to give more proof that Stephen Avery is innocent and set up and who she thinks the people are behind it. But that's episode 9 of season 2. This is part 19. I'll be back soon with part 20, the final part. So what do you think of this episode? What do you think of what happened in this episode? Of what Kathleen Zellner is able to uncover and able to prove? Leave some comments below. Remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And I'll see you again soon. Probably still in sleeves. Have a good day, everybody.